Okay, good morning. Welcome to the Woodhaven Lakes Association annual meeting, Sunday, August 12th, 2022 at 11:30 a.m. What I'd like to do is call the meeting to order. Can we hear better now? Can everybody hear in the back?
The mic's got to be closer to your mouth.
Okay, is it better now? How about the back? Give me a hand if you can hear us okay. Perfect, thank you. Okay, first thing we're going to do is call the meeting to order. What we'll need to do is we need to approve the minutes from last year's annual meeting, and that'll be done from the floor. So what I would like a motion from the floor to approve the minutes from last year's annual meeting.
So moved, Mr. President.
Can you?
State your name, section, what?
Section.
Section 10, line 230.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Section 7, 161.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, it is a open, so I'm gonna ask that,
You gotta be in the microphone.
Put it right in front of your mouth.
okay.
Breathe on it.
I'm gonna have to lean forward the whole time, that's fine.
Did the battery go dead?
You might not want him
It
singing.
might not be
karaoke.
me, actually.
Hand me your mic.
We don't have one.
Oh, they took it.
Amy took it.
Oh, there we go. I'll start farther back and move forward. How is it now? All right, thank you, Amy. Okay, what I'll need to do is to approve the minutes, we'll need a show of hands. How many are in favor of approving the minutes? If you could do that, please.
The minutes
In the
were,
front.
Go ahead, Amy.
and they were in the paper.
Somebody just said one paper.
Okay, is anyone opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda, I'll turn it this way, will be the treasurer's report, and I'm going to ask Director Packwood to give that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, if you will all turn to your annual report, please. We're gonna start on page, hold on, 13. Okay. So this is the independent auditor's report that we got from Whipfly regarding, what this is the opinion from Whipfly. And their opinion states, we have audited the accompanying consolidated financial statements of the Woodhaven Association and subsidiaries of the association, which comprise the consolidated balance sheet as of March 31st, 2022 and 2021. And we'll go through those in pages. As related statements of the consolidated income and association equity and cash flows for the years that ended and related notes to the consolidated financial statement. We did have an unqualified opinion and it was favorable. I just want to point out before we start going through the income statements and the balance sheets that the fraud was initially found, it was first discovered in January of 2022. And the subsequent fraud was discovered while they were preparing for this audit. So we're going to go through that right now. If you'll turn to page 15, the Woodhaven Association and subsidiaries consolidated balance sheets. Our cash on hand restricted was ending 2022 was $4,473,198. Last year was $3,047,723. Cash on hand unrestricted was $5,268,157. 2021 was $6,309,985. The next line you'll see says unrestricted cash reclassification impact of fraudulent acts, okay? That's the $333,046 that was stolen. And you'll see that below, where it says other receivables reclassification impact, this has been taken out completely and corrected from the 2021 audit. Now what I'd like you to do, because this is on footnote K, I'd like you all to turn to page 25, please. Okay. Footnote K, prior period reclassification, and this is what I want to explain and why you're seeing it taken out and put in. During 2022, management uncovered fraudulent acts committed by an employee which resulted in misstatements of the association's consolidated financial statements. The employee separated from the association prior to management's discoveries. There is an ongoing investigation into the fraudulent acts. However, management has thoroughly investigated and believes it has materially identified the impact of the fraudulent acts. To correct the misstatements of the association's consolidated financial statements, an adjustment was made to the March 31st, 2021 consolidated balance sheet to reduce the cash on hand and in bank unrestricted by $333,046 and offset this balance to other receivables. Based on the information received from the association's insurance company, full recovery of these funds is anticipated minus a $2,500 deductible. The $2,500 deductible is posted as an expense to the March 31st, 2022 consolidated statement of income and association equity. Now, if we could go back to page 15. So the total assets for Woodhaven and our subsidiaries for 2022 was $34,277,315. The $33,751,415 is now the same as last year with that fraudulent amount taken out. Liabilities and association equity. The total liabilities for 2022 were $8,636,936. Last year, 2021, was $8,488,993. The association equity restricted fund, if you look where it says designated for future major repairs and replacements, these are our reserves. I know there's a lot of discussion and a lot of confusion about our reserves, but this amount here, the 2022, where it says $14,497,332, that is our reserve fund for the association. Last year it was $13,736,157. Now, just to give you an idea of how funded we are with that reserve, the general rule of thumb is that you're between 70 and 100% funded, okay? The association currently with this fund, because we have two, this fund is at 83% funded. So technically, we are considered fully funded in our reserves. Now, the water and sewer reserves are also at 78%, so those are also fully funded, so you're aware. Okay, so total liabilities and association equity for 2022, our total liabilities and association equity was $34,277,315. Last year, we were at $33,751,415. Moving on to page 16, the consolidated statement of income and association equity. All right, the 2022 total revenue was $12,145,816. 2021 was $11,520,114. Gross profit this year was $9,360,495. Last year was $9,177,924. And other operating revenue was $819,796. For 2022, 2021 was $579,706. So our total revenue from operations was $10,180,291, which is up from last year, which was $9,757,630. Moving on to operating expenses. Our operating expenses for 2022 were $9,977,396 versus 2021, which was $9,118,954. Net income from operations was $202,895 for 2022, and the reason that this is lower is because we did in 2022 was the 50th anniversary, so there was we spent a lot of money going into the 50th anniversary to do that. 2021 was $638,676. Other income for 2022 was $175,062 versus 2021, which was $1,125,651. That $1 million, I need to point this out because there may be questions about it. So the $175,000 is more in line to what our normal levels are for other income. This $1.1 million that you're seeing from 2021, that includes all the COVID relief and PPP money that we received of $803,500 from the year before. So ending association equity end of the year was $25,640,379, and 2021 was $25,262,422. And currently, the association is still very healthy and very well balanced. So turning the page to page 17. This is our consolidated statement of cash flow. Again, you're going to see a few things on here from 2021. The net income for operating activities for 2022 was $377,957. 2021 was $1,764,327. Again, that includes the PPP and our the SBA stuff. Okay, so moving on, you'll see where it says SBA PPP loan forgiveness. That's that $803,500 right there. Moving down the line, you'll see the change. I want you to take a look at change in other receivables, reclassification impact of fraudulent acts. So you see the $333,046 is listed for 2021 because that's when the money was taken. The 2022, you see the $2,500, and that's what we have to pay for the insurance. That's our deductible. So the change in prepaid expenses was a negative $277,519 for 2022. And the net cash flow from operating activities for 2022 total was $1,559,529 to 2021, which was $4,178,751. And then looking down, cash flows from finance activities, you see the proceeds from our SBA and PPP loans. So that was in fact added because the loan was forgiven. So that was income. And then cash balance and equivalents beginning was $9,024,662 for 2022, and for 2021 it was $4,563,183. Our ending balance was $9,741,355 in 2022. For 2021 it was $9,024,662. And then you can see the non-cash finance activities, again, listed is the PPP loan. But I definitely want to point out the fact that when the fraudulent act was discovered, and it was discovered shortly after the employee left, the association then started digging, the management staff started digging immediately. And that's why it's completely disclosed in the audit, and that's why we're making sure that you all know where it's at in the annual report, so that you can see where it was taken out and where it was taken out of last year's audit, and where the money for the insurance is in there. And, hold on a second. I think that's all that I have. Hold on. I just want you to turn to page 26 real quick. We're just gonna go over this. This is the Woodhaven Association supplementary information on future major repairs and replacements. And this is important because a lot of people don't understand that we have assets in the park that depreciate and eventually over time need to be replaced. So I just kind of want to go over this with you. So if you're looking at March 31st, 2022, it lists are all of the components of assets that we have that will be replaced at some time. And then the estimated remaining useful years of life. So those are all listed. If you look at the estimated future replacement cost, okay, for all the assets that we currently have, the total is $147,366,927. So we have a lot of assets. We've got a myriad of assets. So for year ending March 31st, 2022, the funding that was required to do some of these repairs and replacements was $3,208,883. So I just wanted to point that out because people ask why are our association fees what they are, you know, what are you using this for, what about our reserves? And I wanted to explain to you that it all ties in. And that's why we have such healthy reserves. In case there's something that happens, like the tornado, that we could borrow against our own money to be able to repair something like that. You know, take care of the park. But we have to make sure that these assets are taken care of, so. And that's all that I have. I will turn it back over to our board president.
Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
Okay, next on the agenda is the vote. Next on the agenda is the vote count. I want to start a little bit, just so everybody knows if they're not aware. This is the first year we did a total count done by a private company. Because everybody's going, who handled the ballots, who saw them, who did what? It was totally, the online were done by the company, the mail-in ones were sent to the company. They tabulated everything, so nothing was ever actually looked at by any of the staff here or board. So, okay, for count, the written ballots or the mailed-in ballots, there were 925 received, and the online votes were 532.
That's pretty sad.
I'm sorry?
I said that's pretty sad.
It's pretty sad. I can see some comment even.
Okay. The total ballots that includes is 1,425. There were 32 ballots not counted. Just a few of the reasons why there was, if they had more than 4 people voted, they couldn't count it. There would be envelopes that were returned when they were mailed to the lot owners because their address was incorrect. And there were also some that were received after the deadline. They've tried to vote or they received the mail after the deadline. So that's what totaled into that. There were actually 456 ballots that were short, meaning they didn't vote for 4. They only voted for 1, 2, or 3. There were, and that was in the paper ballots. The online ballots, there were 361 that only voted for 1, 2, or 3 instead of 4. It says you can vote, if you read your ballot, you can vote for up to 4. You did not have to vote for 4. So if someone wanted to just only liked or knew one person, they can vote for 1.
It was counted.
Those were
It was counted. Those were counted. Those, I'm just saying, those are the ones that didn't vote for 4. I'm sorry, I should explain that first. They
Those are just
didn't,
considered short ballots.
they did not, yes, the short ballots are counted, they're just not a 4. Okay, now the actual election results. Charles Muir, 923 votes. Chris Collins, 733 votes. Brenda Stewart, 519 votes. Dave Fozzie, 471 votes. Harry Koppel, 740 votes. John Shefsick, 582 votes. Diane Conley, 895 votes. And there were 20 write-in candidates. Now, based on that, I'll give you the top 4 vote getters that are now going to be placed on the board today is Charles Muir, Chris Collins, Harry Koppel, and Diane Conley. do want to give a thank you to the people that ran and did not win this year. We hope they'll try again next time, and we appreciate their even dedicating their effort to try to get on the board. Okay, the next thing is we will have the Executive Director's Report by Jeff Hickey.
Take it out.
Okay.
Take it out. Uh-oh, did she disconnect?
Oh,
Break it?
no,
want mine?
it has to go, hold it a while.
Hold this button.
Hold it in there for a minute.
No. There you go.
There we go. We have used this once or twice before, but obviously I'm still learning, so. I want to take a few minutes to just thank you for being here. We've got a great response today. This is probably pushing one of the larger attended annual meetings that we've seen in a while, so thank you for taking your time to come out and hear the reports and ask questions and get answers to what's going on with your association. I want to take a few minutes. My name's Jeff Hickey. I'm your executive director. We've got a few other staff people here that I want to recognize. But Amy Ackert is our general manager of administrative services. Randy Kaler is our general manager of member services. Christy Althouse is our recording secretary today and comes to the meetings a lot with us in our administrative department. Our new finance manager is Rebecca Botts. And Sam Owens is our IT manager. And I believe the only other member today with us is Scott Hansen, your manager down at the True Value Hardware store. And as we get into some of the discussion, I want to talk about, but thank the board members, thank the committee members that have participated through the process. There's been, certainly some differences this year with what occurred. But I want to talk, I guess first, let's talk a little bit about the format of the annual report. Later today or later in this agenda, Dan will talk about the state of the association. But then we put together a summary for you of the year, and we focus on our fiscal year in this report. So our fiscal year runs from April 1 to March 31 of every year. So this particular report starts in April of 2021 and it ends with reporting for March of 2022. And we put it together, our communications marketing team does a really good job of putting some things together, but we try to highlight some of the activities to kind of bring and refresh some of the memories from the year. Hopefully the pictures trigger some positive thoughts for you, and hit the highlights. I want to kind of piggyback off of Laura's report, and then obviously the 50-year celebration and all of that is worked into there, but I want to probably follow up from Laura's treasurer's report a little bit and connect a few pieces of information in this report for you as well. So if you turn to page 8, you're going to see a summary of fund and subsidiary operations. It's a one-page summary that we provide every year. When we produce the annual report, we include the March 31 audit report, which is referred to as our short report. And in our short report, we eliminate all of the intercompany and interfund activities. So what you get is a consolidated number. For many, they like to know, well, how are all of the operations doing as well? And there is a long report. It's got another 50 pages to it. It is posted online. It can be accessed if you want to come in the office and look at it. That provides all the detail for our other funds and entities and activities here at Woodhaven to see how that breaks down. So in this summary report, we give you some history as to how each of those funds has performed: operating fund, lot fund, water sewer fund, general store, service center, and Woodhaven Lakes Realty. Disaster recovery, that one's going to go off the books next year. That's great news. We paid off our final internal loan balance in April of '21. That is an amazing accomplishment for this organization. And I may touch on that a little bit later as well. But you see your comparisons of actual performance from 2019 to 2022. We provide a comparison for 2022 to our budget projections as well. And that's just to give a little bit more information to bridge to that long report. But I encourage you, if you want more information, either inquire about it or go to the website. You can certainly take a look at the long report. It's a little thicker.
Mike just went out.
Maybe the batteries aren't working.
There you go.
Is Amy making this? Okay, you want me to do it? Okay. Ooh, that one's a little better. All right. Okay, so the intent of this report is to kind of bridge that gap, give you some more information. But again, if you want to get into the details and the specifics, you got to dig a little bit more into the website and so forth. And if you want to come see me, you can certainly set up an appointment and we can go through that report with you as well. The second page I want to draw some attention to is our 5-year projection summary on page 9. So if you turn to that page, you'll see that we put together a projection of where our budget is based on the budget that we approved in March for 2022-23. So there's an annual budget report that's presented to the board in March. It's approved by the board. This report, again, is intended to summarize some of the details that are in that big document, and I have it in my binder back here, but it's a couple inches thick. It includes all of our reserve plans, all of our operating activities, all of our planning, and it's summarized typically in your December issue of your Woodhaven News. You'll see it again as we start for the 23-24 budget process this year. That will be introduced or published to you in that December issue of the Woodhaven News. So you can go back and look at those for summary information. But in this, we provide some idea of where we are at, where we're projected to be. We're currently coming off of the 3rd year of our assessment plan, where the assessments were 1,360 and 1,235 for lots without sewer. The plan, as it's been presented and managed through the years, is to do an incremental increase and then try to hold that for 3 years. So the proposed increase in March was 1,485 and 1,365, and that's projected to stay the same for 3 years after that, before it is then incrementally increased again. Some of the challenges that we're facing and that I think we're all facing individually is the impacts of inflation and other things in our lives. And that is also impacting your association. To this point, we have not responded to the impacts of that in this plan. So please keep that in mind. We've got a lot to go over in the fall, the process for the budget. And then the other information below that does a little bit more summary information for you on our reserves. Talks about some of the debt that's provided. Laura did a really good job getting through the opinion, the financial statements, some of the footnotes. I just want to I want to draw more attention to our reserves a little bit. With the Splash Park project and some of the things that went on, there were some questions and there was a lot of information disseminated. Much of it is inaccurate in terms of some things, and so my goal today is to hopefully provide a little bit of clarification on how the reserves are managed here at Woodhaven and how they differ from municipal reserves. And in working with Dan and Laura and Chris and other folks who have been in municipal governance, there's reserves used in the terminology for municipal governance, but it's a very different terminology. It's not the same as a privately funded homeowners association or common interest community association. The main difference is, and I'm gonna start with municipal governance. Municipal governance is very regulated because it's accumulated through tax dollars. In other words, it's either property taxes, income taxes, sales tax. It's generated from taxes that are provided from the population that municipality serves. And those services are restricted in the sense that they don't pay taxes. There's some a tort immunity that's connected to municipalities and a lot of different things in municipal governance. So one of the things about reserves that I know, and just mainly talking to the individuals who come from that environment, is that you can have a reserve that is equal to 1 year's worth of operation. Now, in essence, it's kind of an emergency fund for them. They don't call it that, but they're limited. In other words, it's capped at 1 year's worth of operations. They don't base their reserve on the list of assets or a project or something that comes up. That comes up through debt service funds or other forms of governance, or in terms of that form of governance. Now, if you switch to a common interest community association, we receive no tax dollars. Everything that is generated from this organization comes from the assessments that are provided privately from you as property owners and from the programs and activities that we charge services for. In our governance, we cannot just build a reserve, and I'm gonna switch to the emergency fund, because if we do that, it's undesignated, you can't do that. Okay, so in a common interest community association, you cannot accumulate extra money. When we accumulate extra money in a surplus, and as you see, if you look back at our budget plans in the past, we will tell you what the surplus is, and then we will do something with that surplus. And in most cases in the past, we have applied that surplus to pay down your debt or to add to your reserves. There are a few occasions where we have refunded or given a credit back to you as a result of those surplus funds. Now, if you have a deficit, you have to make the deficit up in future operations to get back to even. But that's how we function. So the industry also addresses reserves in the terms for them, as Laura pointed out, like this building is an asset of this community. That pavilion on the hill is an asset of this community. The vehicles that we use, the equipment that we use are all assets of the community. So the industry standard requires us to identify how long that asset will survive before you have to replace it. And then you're allowed to accumulate money in a separate fund to cover that asset when it becomes due and it needs to be replaced. So as Laura pointed out, in the reports, we're at 83% funded in the association reserve. We're at 78% funded today in the water and sewer fund reserve. The details of all of that information, not all of it, the summary details, or the more information is provided on pages 26, 27, 28, 29 in your packet. And so Laura touched on this. We break our assets down to categories. We estimate their future value, and then we analyze that. So in our reserve planning, the industry standard states that if you're 0 to 30% funded, you're underfunded, and that's a financial issue. 30 to 70% funded is roughly considered to be moderate funding, and then anything above 70% is considered fully funded. So when we build our long-range plans, we try to start with where we're at. So today we're at 82 in the association reserves and 78. We build future plans to try to stay at least 30% funded. We don't build future plans to try to stay 70% funded. Over time, it will all kind of, historically, we've been doing this for about 20 or 25 years. The plan tends to work out where you have some wins along the way, where you have projects that you do favorably, and it helps your reserve fund. You have some setbacks, but as a general rule, you as an organization have been getting more wins than losses. So your reserves tend to keep up, and then that's what allows us to keep your assessments at a manageable level. The other key difference between municipal governance and private community association governance is what you can do with the reserve. So in municipal governance, you can't go use that money to take care of another project. I don't believe you can. Maybe some people do, but you know. But in our form of governance, the reserve is something that you can then use as a tool to borrow from. So 2 examples that have worked, and then one is still in process. When we bought the water and sewer company, we used our reserves to finance that, basically to purchase the water and sewer company. The first year that we completed that purchase, we raised your assessments $20. That's it. We're managing this over. That particular loan is still on our books. It's reported on under Footnote C in your report here. And it will tell you that we're about $4.2 million in principal balance right now. So when you go back to the balance sheet and you see 14.3, I think it was, is what our total reserves are.
14.5.
5, thank you, Laura. About 10 million of the reserve is actual cash reserves that you have right now. 4.2 is still tied up and you're paying that back, and our schedule on that plan is to pay that back by April of 2038. Okay? The other example is the tornado, which we experienced in 2015. We were able to use reserves to borrow approximately $2 million. Again, not to raise your assessments, to take care of that problem. And so what we were able to do is we initially put a plan in place to pay that back over 9 years. The performance that has occurred since then allowed us to pay it back in 6. And so that was paid off in April of 2021. And in the context of the debate about the splash park, we talked about, well, possibly using reserves to fund that project as well. And as long as I'm here, and as long as I have the ability to explain this to you, there is a limit. You can't borrow more than you have. I mean, we joke about it, but the state thinks they can, and other forms of governments think they can, but we can't, okay? So when we presented the idea of borrowing 4.5 million, it was with the understanding we were still gonna have a $5 or $6 million cash reserve available to us, okay? Doesn't mean it's pro or con or against, it's just to understand the power of this tool, I guess, or the value of this to us and the importance in terms of managing it and going forward with it. And I guess I just heard a lot of misinformation, and I think it's an opportunity to share this with you. I would encourage you to ask questions, come up. They have a joke in the office, I'm a black hole. If you get in there, you need to schedule some time, because I like to talk about this stuff. That's kind of weird, so. At any rate, there's a lot of other information in here, and I didn't, I'm not trying to gloss over anything else or to not focus on anything else. This is a really important part of how you've been successful as an organization for the last 25 or 30 years. We are going to face some challenges in the next few years economically, both as owners and as an association, and we've never really experienced that environment in the 25 years. And so some new challenges are going to be presented to us. We're ready for them. We've got plans, we've got ideas from them. Some things are going to work, some things aren't. But we're going to continue to try to communicate and keep you informed as to what's going on. Enough on finances for the moment. Some statistics I like to share just from some of our operations. We had the highest number of gallons of water used last year, 103 million gallons. Wastewater treatment was 46 million gallons for the year. Total system repairs, these would be from water leaks, different things, 237 compared to 275 the year before and 231 2 years ago. New sewer installs, there were 15 last year, 20 the year before, 5 the year before that. Facebook likes 20,791, up from 19,337. Website sessions, 288,680, up from 263,282. We increased our property owner email registers to 4,826 lots, up from 4,426. Woodhaven Lakes Realty's closings were down a little bit from last year, but 173 closings last year, 199 the year before that, 140 the year before that. On the flip side, our closing only and other transactions were up 9 to 94 last year compared to 79 the year before that and 55 the year before that. Like all real estate right now, we've seen some of the highest numbers that are ever occurring. We're up 39% in average sale price. We're up 56% above the 5-year average. And list to sale is about 91.5%. So those are all really good things that are positively impacting our organization. Some things maintenance-wise, oak wilt, there were 275 trees identified last year. Loose leaf pickup was 2,356 lots. Brush pickup 353 lots. Bag pickup 965 lots. Already kind of talked about this. We're going to face some financial challenges with upward economic pressure going forward. The dreaded word inflation. I guess what I've seen this year, and one of my observations, I guess, during the summer was, in particular, I liked watching the scavenger hunt one day. And it's a really low-cost program. But we happened to have inside information, we knew where it was. So it was fun to watch the development of that take place and all the different families that were kind of walking around trying to find it. And I think, one of the things we'll be working on is balancing these small little things, which I think are very important to why people own here at Woodhaven. And along with the big stuff too. So it was just refreshing to see, and I enjoyed it a lot that day. And I've enjoyed a lot of other things. I've seen our staff pick up the ball and do some things that I'm glad to see. Just little small details, and that's what we try to encourage and promote. And we're looking forward to continuing to excel with our recreational services and facilities here at Woodhaven. Our goal remains focused on building onto and expanding our accomplishments. And so that's a big part of who we are and what we're trying to do. Just in conclusion, I want to take a few seconds, hopefully, to express my appreciation to the group of volunteers here at all levels. Some of you may get me on a bad day, but I do listen to what you're saying, and we do process it, but I'm really glad that we have the people involved that we do and the time that they put in. Also very much appreciate our staff. Our staff has done, really, really well. I mean, coming out of the pandemic, and then the 50-year celebration, there's a little bit of a feel like, oh, maybe things aren't quite the same, but thinking back to before those things, we're still right on course, on par with what we do in a typical year, and really proud of their accomplishments and what they're doing. And all of this, everybody puts the association's interests first. Everybody's probably a little bit broad since there's somebody that didn't do that for us, and they really irritated us. But they're not here anymore. Okay? That's our goal. That's what we do as staff. That's what we try to do for you, the associations first. I want to take a quick minute to thank Pam for her time on the board. Very much appreciated. And Mr. Moffett, I'm gonna look at you when I talk about this, but I hope that Christine's actually watching. She may or may not be. I know she had to, part ways from the board a little earlier than she had planned, and there was some things going on in her life. But Christine, thank you. Todd, please share her thanks. Her awesome thanks to her. And have her come see me when she gets back up here, so, thank you. Again, thank you to all you property owners, for your support, your patience, everything through the year, this particular year. We hope you continue to enjoy your time here as a property owner, and we'll try to answer your questions a little later in the agenda. Thank you.
Okay, everybody can hear okay? Perfect. Okay, what we'll do next, I want to do the State of the Association letter that's in the front. I'll read it very quickly for you. When an organization has been operating for more than 50 years, there will be ups and downs and at some point challenges and difficulties never experienced before within the association. Woodhaven has had some challenging moments in recent history. The tornado of 2015, navigating how to service our property owners sufficiently and effectively through a global pandemic. Contrastingly, there were a number of wonderful moments furnished throughout last year during Woodhaven's 50th year celebration, with amazing programs and events to the level Woodhaven has never experienced before. Adversity, unfortunately, again recently presented itself this past year, as an internal auditing procedures and preparations for this year's annual report discovered several inconsistencies in Woodhaven's financial records. Unfortunately, the financial irregularities discovered internally by staff proved our initial fear that theft of Woodhaven funds had been theft of Woodhaven funds by a former finance department employee in the amount of $333,046. I understand we as property owners want specific answers as to how something of this magnitude could happen. But know when an employee is placed in a position of trust and has willful and intentional plan to circumvent and deceive, it may sometime take a while for internal checks and balances to bring these actions to light. While I've only been on the board of directors for 2 years and acting president for less than a year, it doesn't take long to develop a profound understanding of the camaraderie and sense of family among our Woodhaven staff. As upset and disappointed as we are as a board of directors with the theft of our funds, I also know it's just as difficult for current employees to comprehend and reconcile how a former member of the Woodhaven family would wantonly disregard this inherent trust. Our main goal moving forward is to secure reimbursement of stolen funds through our insurance company, which we fully anticipate. More information on that, you can also check out pages 15, 17, and 25 in the annual report. We will also continue to fully cooperate with Lee County Sheriff and Lee County State's Attorney to provide any information as needed to help ensure the justice system makes this former employee accountable for her criminal actions. Despite these recent difficulties, I admit there isn't much I don't love about Woodhaven. One aspect of this organization I am especially proud of is the level of professionalism and attention to detail we as board, management, committee volunteers, and employees deliver. This came into focus over the past year in the form of the splash pad referendum process. Whether you were personally for or against the splash pad project, I believe it would be hard not to admit the process worked as it was intended. The project, which was initiated from property owner feedback, was thoughtfully and thoroughly researched and artfully developed and presented. Over the course of several months, detailed information was provided in the form of written articles, visual displays, a town hall meeting, and informational presentations to allow you to have an informed voice in determining the fate of the project. You made your choice overwhelmingly and abundantly clear. A standalone splash pad is not an amenity the owners want at Woodhaven at this time. I was extremely encouraged by the overwhelming involvement and decorum displayed by all owners, regardless of the wide difference of opinions through this process. I also want to take a moment to thank the volunteers on the Aquatic Operations Referendum Committee for all their time and effort and dedication in researching and getting the information out to the owners. Moving forward, we as a board and organization will continue to review current projects and investigate, discuss, and debate the worthiness of potential future projects, amenity upgrades and additions, often with direct input from you to keep Woodhaven relevant to future generations of property owners and their families. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is acknowledgements. We're going to actually talk about all these volunteers we keep referring to. We have multiple committees. We actually have a group of almost 150 people that volunteer regularly to attend meetings within our organization. What I'm going to do is I'd like to ask, I will announce a specific committee. I'm going to ask anybody here from that committee to please stand rather than go through and read every single name of the 150 people. So if we can start with the section representatives and their alternates, anybody that's here from that group, just please stand. There we go. Okay, the next we'll go with the volunteer committees. The next one is the ESAC Board of Review. People could stand from that committee. Next we'll go to the Public Safety Board of Review. If anyone's here, could they stand? Facilities Planning Committee. If anyone's here, if they would stand. Finance Committee. Anybody? There we go. Communications Committee. They're all actually working hard at the table over there for us today. Wow. Let's try that. That might be better. Okay, next would be the Aquatics Operation Referendum Committee. Yeah. Well, some of them are sitting up here. Okay, the Audit Committee, which is basically all staff or board, so they'll just raise their hand up here. And the Environmental Committee, is anyone here from that? I don't believe so. No one here, okay. Again, thank you. This group of volunteers would help keep the organization going.
Exactly.
So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, next on the acknowledgements, we want to acknowledge, I know Jeff did his part, but we want to do it as a board. We want to acknowledge Pam Smith for all the hard work she's done for us for the last 4 years. Done a great job, been a very involved director, and we appreciate that. Pam was actually elected in 2018 to the Board of Directors. She served as a liaison for Public Safety Board of Review, and the last 2 years she's been on the Communications Committee Chair. Thank you, Pam.
Thank you, everybody sitting up here, everybody in the audience. I appreciate everybody. My committees, they really come around, and I don't know, it's a bittersweet moment. I was very sick during a lot of time on the board, and I powered through, but I decided that it's time for somebody else to take the seat and for me to focus on my health. So, thank you, everybody. I'm speechless. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Pam, for everything.
Okay, next we're gonna talk a little bit about Mr. Moffett's better half, Christine Moffett. Christine started out, she served on the Communications Committee from 2003 till 2014. She served at Ad hoc Covenant and Restriction Committee from 2012 to 2015. Elected to the Board of Directors in 2014. Served as the chairperson for the Covenant and Restriction Ad hoc Committee. 2016 to 18 served as the ESAC Board of Review Liaison. 2017 became vice president on the Board of Directors. And 2018 was voted president of the Board of Directors, remained in that position until a few months ago. We do obviously have something, a blanket like that for her also, which has been shipped down there, so we make sure it got there in one piece. So, again, I can tell you, she was president when I got on. She was a great leader, and she did a lot to help all the new people when they first come on. So I personally want to thank Christine for all her hard work. Okay, what next is member business from the floor. We're gonna ask if you come up and just state your name and your section and lot. Also, we're gonna ask, I know if there's a lot of people who wanna talk, we're gonna ask you just to come up once. When we're all done with everybody, if someone wants to come up again and we still have time, we'll be able to do that. But if you could just come up like for your one issue you wanna address with us, and feel free to talk to us.
Hello, board.
Whoops,
No, hello, board.
nope.
Okay, I just want to thank Emma and Tim O'Loughlin for getting us this flag. We've asked for a flag and a stand for a couple of years now, where I'm a member of the Good Timers, and we've been saluting to that little flag on top of that file cabinet. So I'm a big patriot, and I really pushed, and I'm glad that she was able to get that for us, and that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Your name and section and
Oh, I'm
lot.
sorry, Ron Sippel, 24-126.
Thank you.
Okay, who's next? Come on up, sir.
Ron Dugo, 1661. Want to thank the board for everything that everybody's done and doing. Appreciate it. You put in a lot of hard hours working for us. Thank you for that. The comment I'd like to make that touches my heart right now is the crew that cleans the bathrooms, that part of the maintenance. We stopped at a bathroom and it was just a mess. The worst part about this is it's a resident that was here. It was somebody that was here. And somebody had to clean that up. I really appreciate the crew that actually drives around to clean the comfort stations in the bathrooms. They really got it hard. I think they deserve a bigger raise around here. I just want to voice my opinion and say thank you. And when the budget meeting comes up, maybe we can give them an extra little bit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Maybe you'll be making the motion to adjourn.
Do we have anyone else that would like to speak? Okay, great. What we'll need then is a motion from the floor. Whoops, I'm sorry. A motion from the floor to adjourn? That's the fastest motion ever. I need your section and lot number for that. And do I have a second?
No, the guy in the cowboy shirt did.
Go ahead. Lot and section
5228.
and your name.
Gino Garcia.
Garcia, 5, okay. Everyone, all I can say is thank you very much. The best crowd I've seen since I've been around, and thank you for all your support.
Thank you.
We need a vote. Need a vote to adjourn. Vote. To adjourn.
Oh, call for the vote.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1 second. I need to raise the hands and say we can adjourn. As you walk out, give me your hand. Thank you.
That's why I get paid big bucks.